Hi! In this video, I'm going to be showing a few different lunch or dinner recipe ideas using seasonal fall produce. All of these meals are very cozy and use fruits and vegetables that are in season for the fall. So first up, I'm going to be making a soup and sandwich combo. The first vegetable, I guess, is an onion. Onions are in season all year long, so I wouldn't say this one is particularly seasonal, but I'm starting by having a chopped onion and a sliced in half garlic bulb in an oiled pan. Next, I'm adding some fresh basil to this. Again, basil isn't exactly a fall seasonal produce, but I also added some salt, pepper, and oregano to this, along with cherry tomatoes, which I would say are a summer and kind of end of summer and early fall vegetable or fruit, depending on how you think of it. I definitely had plenty of cherry tomatoes left over from the end of summer, so I wanted to use that to make a soup. For the sandwich, I also had a second half of the onion and added it to a pan with some butter and agave syrup in order to make caramelized onions. The pan with the tomatoes and the garlic and onion I placed in the oven and roasted at 425 until I was ready to blend all of this, except for the caramelized onions, together in a bullet blender with some vegetable stock and non-dairy milk to make the soup. Then for the sandwich to go with it, I basically made a grilled cheese by buttering 2 pieces of bread, but I also added some elements to the grilled cheese, such as the caramelized onion, and I also added a fall seasonal fruit, which is green apple. I think the combination of the green apple, the tartness of that with the sweetness of the caramelized onions, and the slices of vegan cheese is a delicious combination. I know grilled cheese is a really popular sandwich to dip in tomato soup, so that's why I went with this combo. Plus, I feel like it's a very comforting meal option. A soup and a sandwich feels very fall to me, very cozy, especially with the type of soup and sandwich that I made here. Next up, I made a salad. I guess for this salad, you could have it with the soup as well, or have it with the sandwich. Any combination of those would probably make for a good meal. But for the base, I started out with a heartier green, which is kale in this case, since kale is in season in the cooler months, fall and winter. If this was summer or spring, I would probably be using maybe spinach or some sort of mixed greens. But for salads in fall and winter, I typically go for kale. So I chopped that all up, and I also used some pieces of apple. I enjoy fruit in my salads, and I had some green apple since I used that for the sandwich as well. And I thought dicing up the apple would be a good addition along with a fall squash. You could roast up some pieces of butternut squash, delicata squash. Here I'm using kabocha squash, but whichever one you like the best, just drizzle it in some olive oil, salt and pepper, and roast it in the oven to have a nice cooked element for your salad. I topped it off with just a dressing that I already had on hand, along with another seasonal fruit, which is pomegranate. I sprinkled some pomegranate seeds on top. That completes my salad for fall. The next recipe is using peppers. I feel like peppers are a summer and fall seasonal vegetable. They can go in either season. So I just bought 3 red bell peppers and roasted them in the oven after cutting them in half so that I could stuff them with a combination of the remainder of the cherry tomatoes that I had. I used most of them for the tomato soup, but I had about a cup of them left over. So I chopped those all up and added them to a pan along with some diced onion and garlic and cooked until they were all rather soft. Then I added in some cooked rice, spices and seasonings, and a can of black beans to make the filling. You just spoon that into the pepper halves, and you can top these with some shredded vegan cheese like I did, but you could also leave it off and it would still be good. And then you just add it to the oven for a little while longer to heat up the cheese, and that is the completed stuffed peppers. I really love a good pasta recipe, and for this one, I modified what I typically use to make mac and cheese, and instead of using a plain potato and carrot, I swapped it out for a sweet potato, since sweet potatoes are a fall vegetable. I cooked the carrot and sweet potato in the oven, but you could boil them as well, and then prepared the rest of the mac and cheese type ingredients all in a blender and cooked a box of pasta that I had on hand. Then, once the sweet potato and carrot are done cooking, I added them into the blender as well and made that sauce to pour over the noodles. This is a little bit thick, but it got the job done and it makes a very creamy, cheesy type of pasta, and there's even some hidden veggies in there. Last but not least, I used another favorite fall vegetable, which is cauliflower. I also used carrot in this final recipe as well. I just diced up those cauliflower florets as well as chopping up some carrots and put them on a sheet pan to roast in the oven with a little bit of olive oil and some curry powder for a nice flavor to them. I added these to some cooked quinoa to kind of make a bowl, except I'm serving it here on a plate, not in a bowl. But quinoa also gives me very fall vibes. I topped this with a little bit of dressing as well as some pomegranate seeds, and that completes all of my fall seasonal meals. Thanks for watching.